We've got some amazing samurai games out already, with the likes of Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima being such amazing hits. Need I say more?
I don't think so.
But what has 2023 got in store for us samurai-loving fans? So let's dive into what the next top 5 samurai games coming our way in the near future are. Hi guys, Love Gaming Retro is back, and let's chop our way with number 5.
Sakamoto Ryoma-san yo.
Like a Dragon Ishin is a remake from Ryu ga Gotoku RGG Studios, if I've pronounced that right, and takes place in 1860s Japan as the era of the samurai comes to an end. The original game was released on the PS3 and PS4 in 2014 as a spin-off of the Yakuza series, but this was never released in the Western world, which is probably why we've never heard of it. This remake will be the first time the game is available outside of Japan, completely remade in the Dragon engine, which RGG Studios has used for its recent games, Yakuza Like a Dragon and Judgment games. The cast in this game are with familiar characters, although playing different roles. The main character, Sakamoto Ryoma, is played by the series protagonist Kazuma Kiryu. Although this game is placed in the 1860s in Japan, the game stars Sakamoto Ryoma, a historical figure. The story will cover the end of the samurai era and how Ryoma helped revolutionize Japan by overthrowing the shogunate and changing the landscape of the country permanently. Sakamoto has come to Kyoto to search for his father's killer, in an era of great inequality in the city and country. Sakamoto is also aiming to clear his name of murder and restore his honor. This game is an action brawler game, very similar to the majority of the Yakuza games that we're all used to, although this does not have turn-based combat, which was actually introduced in the Yakuza Like a Dragon game. Although this might be similar to the Yakuza games when it comes to gameplay, there are a few things that make this game slightly unique. Sakamoto will have access to 4 different styles of fighting, the first being a swordsman style which focuses on the blade that he has. The second is gunman style, focused on using your trusty firearm to take down enemies, which kind of disappoints me as I love the fact that samurai is all to do with swords, but okay, we have a gun to play with as well, can't be that bad. The third is the wild dancer style, which combines the sword and the gun in a flurry of attacks. And last but not least, the fourth being the brawler style, which lets your fists do the talking. This game also features similar actions the series is very known for, like summoning a tiger to attack your enemies, and, if that's not enough, shoving pickled plums down enemies' throats. Now that does sound pretty interesting to me. In regards to the release date, this game will be coming out on the 21st of Feb 2023, so I'm sure we're all looking forward to that in a couple of months. Moving on to number 4.
只要我心不散，大唐就不会亡。
The Perceiver, or I should say Project the Perceiver. The dialogue expresses conflicting beliefs and ideals between opposing forces with an emphasis on the meta-contextual analysis of its story through the idea of play. Whether the events of this story exist as a fiction within the protagonist's mind, or if there is an extra layer of complexity to its world through the fantastical, is to be determined. Although the dialogue is certainly part of its mystery that can be intriguing to players. This game is a new open world action game being developed for PlayStation, so you may want to add this game to your watch list if you're a fan of Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima. This game released an exciting teaser trailer revealing a large range of information from gameplay to story and as well characters. Seeing as how it takes place in a fantasy world, featuring combat that relies heavily on blocking and parrying, the open world itself is as stunning as games like Ghost of Tsushima, with players witnessing swords clashing in ways that highlight the technical aspect of its gameplay. This game is in development for PS4 and PS5, but we don't have a release date just yet, as there's probably still much more of the game we need to find out about and see in the near future. Guys, don't forget to subscribe, like and comment if you love reviews, news, talking about new games, as it will continue helping this channel grow. Moving on to number 3. Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Now if you've seen my previous videos, you can see I've mentioned this game a few times. Now the story of this is set in 184 AD in China. The game follows a nameless militia soldier, although I do use the word militia quite a bit as I prefer the way I say it, fighting for survival in a dark fantasy version of the later Han Dynasty, where demons plague the three kingdoms. Wolong actually refers to a crouching dragon and also refers to a hero or a person of greatness who is not yet known. Wolong's focus is on the officers during this time who will later become heroes. The game's story length will reportedly take around 40 hours to beat. You will need to master dodging, parrying and blocking. You will also be able to summon spirits to help you out as you make your way through the game's linear levels. Your fighting styles are based on the 5 phases which appear to be key elements like fire, electricity, earth and more. By defeating enemies you will awaken the power within you. With this game taking an influence on Soul-like games, please be prepared for another fully in-depth customization experience, and I do love having a unique character. This has a release date of the 3rd of March 2023, and I have to admit I can't wait for this game. Guys and girls, let's take a break with a nice cup of coffee which helps me stay energized to continue making YouTube videos weekly and becoming a full-time YouTuber so I can keep making amazing videos for you. With that, to support this channel, help when buying me a coffee with the link in the description. It will go a long way. Moving on to number 2. Black Myth Wukong, if again I've pronounced that correctly. We know it's based on the classic Chinese tale Journey to the West, one of the 4 masterpieces of classical Chinese literature. A portion of this original story focuses on Sun Wukong, also known as the Monkey King, who appears to be the main character in Black Myth Wukong. Wukong's story follows him from birth through his journey to learn Taoism and become immortal while mastering language and combat along the way. He also acquires the 72 methods of heavenly transformation, allowing him to transform into many different animals and objects at will. He wields a magical black iron staff that can grow in size or shrink based on its owner's command. Wukong possesses a number of abilities, including shape-shifting into different people, animals and objects, cloning himself or various forms of himself, cloud somersaulting, an incredible leaping ability allowing him to leap thousands of miles at a time, weather manipulation, and the list goes on. This is a third-person action RPG mixing environmental exploration with skill-based Souls-like gameplay. Wukong is armed with his signature magic-imbued black iron staff weapon. Wukong appears to use new abilities, including transforming into a skull-filled boulder that can deflect attacks, parrying large groups of enemies, freezing enemies in place before striking them, and transforming into 3 flying creatures that can rain down lightning from above. Some of the standout fights in the trailers feature giant boss enemies including a giant wolf-like creature, a giant rolling spider made entirely of bones, a lightning-wielding sword fighter. Again, many more amazing boss fights seem to happen throughout this game. One again I'm definitely looking forward to, however with a release date only at the moment of just being told 2023, but hopefully comes out sooner rather than later. Keep your eye on that one. Moving on to number 1.
After 3 centuries of the Tokugawa's repressive rule,
Rise of Ronin. This game is set during the twilight of Japan's Edo era in the 19th century. This period was called Bakumatsu and is marked by outbreaks of disease, civil war, and the arrival of interest from overseas, as you can see from the American embassy glimpsed in the trailer. We'll play as the Ronin from the game's title, without any binding loyalties to leave you free to make choices as you move through the world. This is a Team Ninja game, and they've mentioned that the story will be deep and dark, showcasing the most critical revolution in the history of Japan, including the darkest and ugliest chapters that many will shy away from. We will apparently get the chance to make plenty of decisions that will impact the story as it unfolds in material ways. So I'm really looking forward to learning about the RPG elements at play for this one. Rise of the Ronin will feature a lot of combat, and it looks like it will be impactful and deadly given the brief moments shown in the trailer. This game will also feature katana combat as well as other forms of blade, but will also blend in period appropriate firearms. I feel like this will be an interesting combat system where you can switch back and forth between classical and more modern weaponry. This will also be an open world game with horses available to ride between locations. And I have to say, I'm extremely interested to see how big this world really will be. Maybe it will be a strong comparison with Ghost of Tsushima. Rise of the Ronin is still a long way off. Its first trailer might look pretty polished and contain many glimpses of gameplay, but there's no date confirmed about when this game will be coming out. But again, one to add to the watch list for later news in the near future. It has been announced that this game will be an exclusive for PS5, meaning you won't be able to enjoy it on Xbox consoles. Can't say I'm disappointed about that. However, as we've noticed with some PS5 exclusives, they probably may make their way to PC sometime soon. So there's the top 5 samurai games coming our way, but let's see the type of games that are still worth a mention but didn't get added to the top 5. First being Assassin's Creed Project Red. We don't know much about this game so far as it had a very small leaked trailer. We do know that it's going to be an open world RPG experience, which again is great as I love open world Assassin's Creed games. And it will be based in feudal Japan, and we'll finally get the chance to live a very powerful shinobi fantasy. We don't know exactly the period of history this game will cover. With it being in Japan or ancient Japan at some point, we know it's going to be a great samurai type of experience. We also know that Jonathan Dumont will be returning as the creative director, which he also was for 2 other Ubisoft games, being Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Immortals Phoenix Rising, and to be fair, they're 2 of my favourite games, so really looking forward to Jonathan Dumont coming back and seeing what he can do with this one. Another game that we don't know too much about but worth a mention is Ghost of Tsushima 2. All we know so far about this game is, yes, as we know, it's going to be another open world game with some great combat, and Sucker Punch have already made an announcement that they've been recently hiring for a senior games writer for an open world game and a combat designer who's played Ghost of Tsushima and understands its core combat systems. So the fact that they're actually already hiring means that this game is in development. We don't know how far in development it has been. The only thing I'm worried about is sometimes the second games are never as good as the first, but with how amazing the first Ghost of Tsushima was, I'm really excited to see what the second one will have and will bring. So for now, we're just going to have to wait and see for more details on this epic samurai adventure. Let's take a look at comment of the day. So comment of the day goes to Creature Core 13, who said, "I don't want to read, but will be playing it in Japanese so that I have to read. Yes, the English acting sounds absolutely terrible, but the solution is to critic it and let Square Enix know terrible English voice acting won't cut it." Couldn't agree with you more about the English voice acting not being up to scratch. I too will be playing Final Fantasy in Japanese. And that's all from me. Subscribe and stay tuned as I will be discussing another similar topic next week. Stay with Love Gaming Retro for much more reviews and news, all for you.